representatives from security agencies. Maybe I spare you the names, but the multi-agency team is fully represented here. Yes, I'll spare you the names. The representatives of the marking centers, Kcpe center organizers, is Mrs. Josephine Kivuti around? St. George's Primary. Yes, asante sana na ubarikiwe. Reverend Musa Gitau Primary, do we have Mr. Eutychus Njenga? Ubarikiwe. Nairobi Boarding Primary School, Mr. Munyao Mbondo. Asante sana. Yeah, these are just representatives. We used 18 centers, but they are well represented by the three. The media fraternity, we are happy that you are here. Mbarikiwe pia. The Kenya National Examinations Council staff, mko wapi? Yes. Asanteni na mbarikiwe. The rest are in the field because the KCSE exam is still going on. Ladies and gentlemen, all the invited guests, feel most welcome. I now wish to hand over to the PS, Ministry of Education, Early and Basic Education. Yeah? Yes, that's what I'm saying now. You can proceed. Start by dealing with size 11 to 14. And yes. So you start first. Okay, yeah, the order has been changed a bit. So we will now go to the... Yes. Then from there, I think the order will just follow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO, Kenya National Examinations Council, Dr. David Genere, to make his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ochich. In the interest of ensuring that the children don't wait for too long, that's why we have shortened the program. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Professor Magoha, Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Dr. Juan, Principal Secretary, State Department for Implementation of Curriculum Reforms, Professor Chege, Secretary, TSC, Dr. Masheria, Chairperson of NEC Governing Council, Dr. Onsati, Director KICD, Professor Ungondo, members of the NEC Governing Council who are here, some are still in the field monitoring KCSE, all other invited guests, good afternoon. I take this opportunity on behalf of the management of NEC to welcome you all to this very important occasion in the lives of 1,214,031 candidates who sat for the Kcpe examination in 28,313 centers countrywide. The candidates were examined in 7 subjects, tested in 9 papers. The examination papers for Kcpe were administered in 3 days, from Monday 7th to Wednesday 9th of March. For effective administration of the Kcpe, NEC engaged the services of 174,910 professionals. These persons were drawn from the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Ministry of Education, Teacher Service Commission, and other government agencies. I take this opportunity to thank all the field officers who rendered selfless service, ensure successful administration of the Kcpe examination. I wish to particularly thank the 4,970 center managers who hosted a total of 6,863 examination centers that had registered less than 30 candidates. CS, if you remember, this is one of the areas that we were anticipating a big challenge, but it went on very successfully. Thereafter, NEC engaged the services of 5,567 examiners for the marking of English composition and Kiswahili Insha answer scripts. I wish to appreciate all examiners, center organizers, some of who are here, and their teams for ensuring that we marked this very successfully. For the objective questions, NEC did machine scoring of the candidates' OMR answer sheets. NEC processed the results of 2021 Kcpe candidates, observing due diligence to ensure that each candidate is awarded their results based on the work they presented. I wish to reiterate that we only award based on the work of the candidate. To this end, I wish to appreciate all NEC officers, my colleagues who are here, for their dedication and commitment throughout the process of the examination administration. Last but not least, I wish to acknowledge the leadership of Professor Mong'are in ensuring that these exams were conducted successfully. We are very grateful to you for all the work that you did to us. I wish all the 2021 Kcpe examination candidates success in their next level of education. It is now my humble duty to invite the chairperson of the council, Dr. Onsati, to make his remarks, and thereafter invite the Principal Secretary, Dr. Juan, to run the rest of the program. Thank you, and God bless you.
The Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education, Professor George Mong'are, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Basic Education and Early Learning, Dr. Julius Juan, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Implementation of Curriculum Reforms, Professor Fatuma Chege, the Secretary and CEO, the Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia, the CEO NEC, Dr. David Genere, the members of the NEC Council present, the staff of the Kenya National Examinations Council, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. May I take this opportunity to welcome all of you once again to Mitiani House for the release of the results for the 2021 Kcpe examination candidates. Before proceeding with my speech, I would like to introduce the council members present and apologize on behalf of the other council members who are out in the field because KCSE is going on. One, Dr. Julius Juan. Thank you. Nancy Macharia, Professor Charles Ongondo, Colonel Retired Leonard Owambo. The rest of the council members are out there, but I'll mention their names. Dr. Mary Gaturu, Mr. Festus Kingori, Mrs. Rosemary Saina, Mr. Martin Okio, Professor Eric Okoth Ogur, and Dr. Fred Ochogo Spotter. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to state that as a council and in conjunction with the technical team of NEC, we have been reviewing our processes to enhance efficiency in the process of administering examinations and assessment. In particular, NEC has been working around the clock in the 2022, being in the year 2022 being a unique year because in October and November 2022, NEC will be administering grade 6 assessment alongside the 2022 Kcpe and the KCSE examinations. NEC has been putting in place all the requisite arrangements to enable concurrent administration of examinations and assessments in both the 844 and 2633 education systems. I wish to assure our Cabinet Secretary and Kenyans at large that NEC will deliver as expected. For the 2021 Kcpe and KCSE examinations, I wish to report that the innovations NEC put in place have yielded gains towards effective examination administration. One of the innovations put in place, which the CEO has just alluded to, was that of having examination centers with less than 30 candidates being hosted by larger centers. This practice had been in force previously, but on a small scale, and I wish to report that it has enhanced cost effectiveness in the process. My council wishes to assure all stakeholders that any isolated challenges experienced in regard or with regard to the centers being hosted will be addressed to ensure that the initiative is implemented with the full success in subsequent examinations. With regard to the internal processes of examination administration, I am pleased to report that NEC conducted all its processes in utmost observance of the laid down regulations, confidentiality, and security consciousness. This enabled NEC to deliver quality examinations materials to the distribution centers in the whole country. I therefore wish to urge all players and stakeholders involved in the examination administration process and especially center managers, supervisors, invigilators, and security officers to act responsibly to uphold the integrity of the examinations. NEC will continue working closely with the security agencies to ensure vigilance throughout the period of national examinations. Our goal remains to completely eradicate cartels who continue to cheat candidates, that they will aid them in examination cheating. As I conclude my remarks, I wish to acknowledge those who have supported NEC Council to deliver its mandate this far, starting with our Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education, Professor George Mong'are, for spearheading the process to ensure that the standards he set as a council chairman are maintained from 2016 to date. I also recognize the critical role played by all other education-related agencies and stakeholders who have worked closely with the NEC throughout the year. As a council, we continue to appeal to all stakeholders, including students, parents, teachers, unions, associations, media, and the general public to marshal support in stemming out attempted examination malpractice. I assure Kenyans that the NEC Council shall employ all means within its ability to ensure that certification of Kenyan education system remains credible, valid, and reliable. I now wish to invite the Principal Secretary to make his remarks, and I invite the Cabinet Secretary. Yes, sir. Oh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nsati, the Chair, NEC Council, to our Cabinet Secretary, CEO TSC, my colleague, Professor Chege, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have remarks to make because the Cabinet Secretary will cover all the areas that we need to cover. But as Mr. Chich said earlier, allow me to acknowledge our colleagues who have joined us today so that we appreciate their presence. Let me start internally with the directors from the Ministry of Education who are here. I saw Mr. Kangera, Mr. Kibet, and Mr. Rukaria. Thank you very much for coming. We have directors from the Teacher Service Commission. I know the CEO will mention them, but allow me also to tell them to stand. I saw Madam Rotich, I've seen Dr. Damburi, and our regional TSC director of Nairobi. Thank you very much for joining us. The directors from NEC had already been introduced, but allow me to ask you to stand again as part of the team that really made this process a success, wherever they are sitting. Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. We don't take it for granted. Before I come to our colleagues from the unions and associations, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to specially give a special recognition to our multi-agency team who did a wonderful work, and especially the security officers. I know Mr. Commissioner Picho is not here, but allow me to mention his name because he's done and coordinated our work wonderfully. We have many others here whom I will not mention their names, but they've done a wonderful job. Mr. Julius Mukwe from the Ministry of Interior, I think you are sitting somewhere. Thank you very much for the coordination that we have. Let me now mention the presence of Mr. Oyu, who is the Secretary NAT. I think you can wave so that, thank you very much. We have Mr. Kelo Misori of Kcpe. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Nzioka, who is the Chair, Kenya Primary Heads Association. Thank you very much. I don't know whether there's anybody else I've left out. Good, thank you very much. Colleagues, as I appreciate the multi-agency team that handled and still continue to help us handling the examinations process, we also need to urge and continue encouraging all of us that because exams are still going on, that we struggle and ensure that we maintain the integrity of the examinations process. Because I was not supposed to make remarks, allow me at this stage, before I invite the COTSE, to very graciously thank our teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a very tight year, which was quite compact, required a lot of dedication, and we don't take it for granted that our teachers kept our learners in school until we came to the end of the academic year. Allow me at this stage to invite Dr. Nancy Macharia, the COTSE, to make her remarks. Thereafter, I will invite the Cabinet Secretary to make his remarks and finally release the results for 2021 Kcpe results. Karibu sana, Madam Nancy.
Thank you, PS, our Cabinet Secretary, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. Allow me to make my very brief remarks. And Cabinet Secretary, I don't have to introduce my team. The PS has done that. We are here today to celebrate a special group of 1.2 million candidates who will be joining Form 1. On behalf of the Teacher Service Commission, I congratulate the Kcpe class of 2021 and assure them that our teachers are very prepared to receive all of them in secondary school next term. I thank all our teachers, including those who took part in the invigilation, supervision, and marking for their credible efforts that made the 2021 class ready for Kcpe examinations during an academic year that was heavily shortened. Overall, I wish to report that nearly all the teachers that were involved in the examination conducted themselves with utmost professionalism during the Kcpe examination process. This is testimony to the fact that our teachers are determined to ensure a credible examination in our schools. I congratulate all of them and encourage them to keep up with the good spirit as per the Code of Regulation for Teachers. As a commission, we will recognize and reward those who excelled in the process in line with the performance recognition, reward, and sanctions policy. Ladies and gentlemen, during the 2020 examinations, we rewarded 30 teachers who stood out in various aspects of Kcpe and KCSE administration, some of whom even received awards under the presidential reward system, and we want to thank the president for rewarding our teachers. It acts as a motivation. On the same note, the TSC will act firmly and expeditiously on those teachers who will be found guilty of aiding in examination irregularities. And so, as a commission, we are waiting for the minister to release the examinations, and the next should tell us if any of our teachers was actually involved in any irregularities, and we shall take firm action on them. As we have said in the past, as a commission, we will not allow a few teachers to mar the good name of the teaching service. As a commission, we thank the government for funding resources to allow us to recruit an average of 5,000 teachers annually for our public schools. However, we still have a shortage of 114,581 teachers in primary and post-primary institutions due to the increased enrollment arising from the 100% transition policy and registration of new schools. Despite the shortage, the Commission continues to ensure prudent utilization of the existing teachers in both primary and secondary schools. From time to time, we have had to review staffing placements to ensure no part of our country is disadvantaged in terms of sharing the limited teaching resources. And in line with this, the Commission will shortly be asking our field officers to do a routine exercise of assessing their sub-counties to ensure that all schools have balanced teacher-to-learner ratios ahead of the start of the new academic calendar year. So arising from this, any movements conducted at the local areas must have a human face and must be well discussed with all relevant offices to ensure equity for all of our learners in tandem with the existing staffing norms. We intend to conclude this staff balancing exercise by May 9th of 2022. Lastly, the TSC has continued to prepare all teachers for the phased implementation of CBC. So far, we have consistently ensured that relevant teachers were trained for all levels, including grade 6, which will be covered starting next month. The total of teachers trained in CBC in the last 3 years is 292 teachers. I now wish to announce that the Commission has planned the training of 60,000 teachers in April for juniors to prepare teachers for the junior secondary schools in CBC and competency-based assessment with effect from the 25th of April, immediately after the completion of the marking of the KCSE exams. The training will adopt a phased or cascade model of training that will start at the national level to the county and sub-county levels. Teachers will be trained in specific learning areas in languages, pure sciences, applied sciences, mathematics, humanities, and technical subjects. And the training will involve special needs education teachers. It will also involve private schools to prepare our teachers for junior secondary. In conclusion, I once again thank all our teachers for their selfless efforts in preparing the candidates for the Kcpe examinations and wish them well as we continue with the current examinations and even preparing our students for the December examinations, God willing, that we shall still conduct. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated earlier, we are trying to make this as brief as possible because we still have examinations going on, and also not to, reduce the anxiety of our candidates. Now, I'm informed that we have a representative from the Kenya Private Schools Association, Mr. Bandi Simon, wherever you are. Oh, thank you very much for coming. I think at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to have the privilege to invite our Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, to come and address us and the country, and then release the results for KCPE 2021. Karibu sana waziri.
God is good, and all the time. I just would like to recognize my CS, Dr. Sarah Ruto, who is here in spirit because she has lost her father, and the rest of the protocol is as observed by the Principal Secretary. My statement to the country today is perhaps the most solemn and significant since I joined this ministry more than 3 years ago. I stand here today to release the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education KCPE examination, which is important to us in two ways. One, it is the last examination which is being released under the Jubilee administration of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, a regime that has seen a 6-year run of the most clean and flawless national examination campaigns that have restored the integrity and credibility of our national certification system. Two, these KCPE examination results we are releasing today will be the second last before we fully transition into the competency-based assessments under the competency-based curriculum in 2023. I therefore am very proud and thankful to the Lord and His Excellency the President to have allowed me to serve for the last 6 years, 3 as Cabinet Secretary, and incidentally, very strangely, the longest Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Education under the Jubilee administration, and the other 3 years as Chair of the Kenya National Examination Council. I cannot take this for granted, this opportunity for granted. I am aware that there are very many other better qualified people And I think His Excellency the President alone knows why he dared to select me to do this job. As I prepare to hand over the basic education mantle to my successor, which only God knows, I am proud of my record, and I remain confident that the lady or gentleman who will come after me will find a comfortable place to continue from. That is not to say that Jogo House is a place that is easy to work in. It is a place which does not require people who do not have a hardened heart and a personality to fight corruption. Let me outline a few of these milestones. The competency-based curriculum. As a government, we have done everything possible to midwife the transition of 844 to CBC. So far, the CBC has successfully been implemented up to grade 5. Next month, by the grace of God, the pioneers will join grade 6 and sit for their first national assessment later this year. These children have already spent 8 years in the competency-based curriculum. I wish to assure the country that all curriculum materials for grade 6 have been prepared and distributed to all public schools. As you have heard from the Teacher Service Commission CEO, Dr. Nancy Macharia, all relevant teachers have been trained to teach grade 6. So we are prepared for the rollout. And many more teachers will be trained. To be more specific, next month we shall train teachers for grades 7 and 8. But being Kenyans, you can be sure you'll be asking again and again, have the teachers been trained? Are the teachers there? Ahead of the start of the junior secondary school next year, the Ministry of Education, under the very competent leadership of His Excellency Mong'are Kenyatta, has constructed 6,497 new classrooms to accommodate CBC Pioneer class under the first phase at the cost of 5.123 billion shillings. The most important thing to note here is that each of these classrooms has costed only 788,000 shillings. So we must start asking ourselves, whether we like it or not, where has the 426,000 shillings extra been going to? Because most of the classrooms before this were constructed at 1.26 million. So we must give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And I want to thank the President for being firm on us, saying that he was of the considered opinion that 788,000 can construct classrooms. I'm saying they are all completed because the few that are not complete are either at walling or roofing stage, and my team and I shall ensure that they are complete before the end of the exams. And then we shall embark on the phase 2 of the program, which is the balance of 3,503 classrooms. In fact, this morning I asked His Excellency the President to provide money for this, and the answer was in the affirmative. So before we leave office, ladies and gentlemen, whether anybody likes it or not, we shall have constructed 10,000 classrooms at 788,000 shillings each. And I think this should be a blueprint. And I want to ask members of the fourth estate to be making noise about this. If you are saying the same classes we are constructing at 788, where are you taking the balance of the money? I think Kenya is not a poor country. It is just that it has no good workers. There are many jobs, but there are no workers in Kenya. Are we together here? Because people work for their pockets. And I've just remembered, I want to recognize just one person. Yusuf, stand up so that they can see you. Everybody forgets about this young boy here called Yusuf. The fact that we were able to mark these exams quickly and on time, he's the last in the chain. So let's not judge people from where they are. But there are times he was sleeping at 4:30, and by 7:30 he's here. And we are now releasing the results. And you have seen all my leaders have forgotten him. I will not forget him. Thank you. All these preparations, ladies and gentlemen, make me extremely comfortable that my successor will find a good script to follow in the CBC implementation. But I want to dare say once again that this ministry is not a ministry for the faint-hearted. The education ministry is not a ministry for the faint-hearted, starting from Jogo House to the field and to your house. The competency-based assessment, as I already said before, the first grade 6 assessment is set to be administered in December of this year. It's expected that this national assessment will account for 40% of the candidate's final mark, while the remaining 60% will have come from the classroom teacher scores from school-based assessments of grade 4, 5, and 6. This new testing is expected to emphasize both formative and summative assessments, which hopefully will heavily reduce the nonsense cutthroat competition that we see witnessed under the 844 system, and heavily reduce incentives for cheating in examinations. And for the avoidance of doubt, even this examination I'm presenting you did not leak. Many of you would have hoped that it leaked so that you can provide things you are going to write about, but unfortunately it did not leak. I also wish to assure my successor that I have ensured that the grade 6 national assessment is ready, and all that is required is to oversee the administration. My plea to the next government, whichever it is to encourage it to ensure continuous security of our examination process until the CBC is fully grounded. The administration of the December 22 examination will effectively mark the end of the rearranged academic calendar that was forced upon us by an external factor, COVID-19, occasioning the prolonged closure in 2020. Beginning of January 2023, our country will go back to the traditional academic calendar starting in January and ending in November of each year. I wish to thank the stakeholders, starting with the parents, the learners, and the teachers. But above all, I want to thank His Excellency the President for being bold enough to bite the bullet when everybody was singing the opposite song. I think in leadership, what I've learned from President Kenyatta is one thing, that decision-making process is perhaps the most important aspect of leadership. So he made a decision to bite the bullet, and while some people wasted up to 2 years, we are going to go back to normal in some months' time. I also do not want to forget our teachers, whom nobody can compensate them. So let me not hear teachers saying, oh, we are not being paid enough. Who the hell do you think is being paid enough? Nobody is paying me to work for 16 hours a day. So you should also do the same, and most of them are doing so. And we are proud of them, Dr. Macharia, and we pass that message to them. I want to thank the President for offering the ministry all the support out of the broad that has enabled us to carry the broad reforms. And let me be very fair to His Excellency the President. I don't look like the person who will praise anybody. I'm not a praiser. I will not shift from one party to another. In fact, I don't have a party. Are we together? But I want to recognize His Excellency the President for the manner in which he has handled me as a cabinet secretary. He has never given me instructions that confuse me, as if he's saying this and meaning this. Every instruction he has given me has been towards the poor of this nation. So no one can gainsay the fact that when the history of this country is written, President Kenyatta's contribution to the education sector will comprise a myriad of chapters. And you can take that to the bank, because it's not about politics. You can actually measure what has been done. The multi-agency Examination Administration, the successful administration of this exam for the last 6 years would not have been possible if we did not have a multi-agency approach, some of whom I will not name, some I will name because you see the policemen. Basically, I want to recognize, first of all, my fallen colleague, the late General Kcpe, who together with Fred Matiang'i and Joe Mucheru started this process when I was recruited to work at another level. And we have continued to better the system, except that the Kenyans have refused to accept that the container system which we picked after I went around African countries, and we picked it in Uganda, has been watertight. The exam cannot leak. So I don't know, whoever says the exam has leaked, show us the paper the day before. It's a very simple thing they are doing, which even a man who failed the exam can do. Once the examination has left the container, then 1 or 2 teachers will go and take a photo and put it in the mtandao. But the children are already in the classroom. So now that we have stopped phones from going into classes, if you are stupid, continue to do so. And I want to warn here, ladies and gentlemen, I have a choice. My choice is to remain a cabinet secretary until tomorrow. If you choose to put your career online, we shall punish the children and we shall punish the teachers. Just wait and see. It's not a joke anymore, because I think it is a criminal offense to confuse a youngster who is very intelligent. You want to send things in a phone when he's already inside and thinking. So those who are bold enough, who are doing so, who have already taken money from these people, must be prepared to face the consequences which are coming. I'm talking very firmly because there are some we have already caught. Not that the exam leaked, but your attempt, if you are caught with a cell phone, for example, there is a price you shall pay. And it is not a very sweet price. So if you are bold enough to try, go ahead and try. Even this morning, perhaps they tried. Tomorrow, if you like, you can try. And we shall catch you. And in less than 2 weeks, if you are a teacher, your job is gone. That's it. We must not forget the 100% transition in line with the government's 100% transition. That all these children, the 1,214,031, all of them will transit to high school. You will ask why. Some of them were caught colluding. Yes, our law says if you catch a child colluding in primary school, for that subject the child gets 0. So that will bring the marks down. Up to now, I don't think there's any child who was caught with all the papers. So even if you passed on only one, you will go to a school which is appropriate with you. Are we together? So, but they will pay for it, especially all those that... Already the minister has put in place measures to ensure that a selection exercise is conducted soonest, and I dare say that Kcpe, within 2 weeks I would be wanting to know whether it is complete or not. You have no sleep until we complete that subject. Umeelewa? Now, when the legacy of His Excellency the President is written, the LIMU scholarship program will be written in it. And this program has enabled the poor children of Kibera, of Kiandutu, or what have you, of Kisumu, children who are intelligent like I was, and who are poor like I was, and who had no chance of becoming a doctor and finally a CS like me, because the mandarins were around it. So they would sell their positions. If you are taken in alliance, people with money through collusion will buy your place and allow you to go to a high school near your area. We want to thank His Excellency the President for his wisdom, that as we speak now there are 18,000 children whose scholarships are for the 4 years, starting from 2019. And this means that those poor will also raise their families, because when they rise, they will rise with their families. And because of that, the President has very gladly agreed this morning that we continue with another 9,000 beneficiaries this year. And so I am going to state here that we should look for James Mwangi, and we start. And I will not be in my office, I will be with them. I want to be sure that it is that child who requires that scholarship that gets it. Because I am the best example. Are we together here? And I think, despite all the politics, let us give to Caesar what belongs to him. Because originally that scholarship was supposed to be meant for other people only. His Excellency the President called me and said, no, go and look for the urban poor children. There are many children who are poor in the urban area. And I found very many of them. As far as irregularities are concerned, usually this primary school exam does not have too many irregularities because it's not high stakes. This time round, we had 320 candidates who were attempting to collude in 7 examination centers. There will be a price to pay by each of those 320 candidates, and the exam administrators in those 7 centers are going to be severely admonished in the usual manner. Dr. Mong'are, it is over to you. If there's anyone that belongs to Interior, ile mtu iko wapi? Yeah, we have forgotten your name. Mr. Mukwe, we shall hand over to you. So within the next 2 weeks or so, you will be hearing what has been done as far as primary school is concerned. Of the details, 1.2 million candidates in 28,313 centers. Of these, we have achieved gender parity, 50.28 boys, 49.72% girls. Basically comparable to last year's. Now, during the 2021 examination, 12 counties registered more females than males. It's very strange. Mombasa, Meru, Isiolo, Tharaka Nithi, Nairobi, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Bungoma, Kakamega, Vihiga, Kisumu, and Siaya. In 2020, there were 20 of them. So it's like we thank God the male child is starting to come up. The number of candidates who are absent this time decreased from 12,424 to 11,500. The number of registered candidates who are below age increased from 26,000 to 33,000. The counties that had the highest entry for these candidates is very strange, and I'm going to read them very carefully. Baringo, Bomet, Kericho, West Pokot, and Nyamira. Doesn't make sense, but that is the truth. I'm asking, why not in the urban areas? So these counties, except for Nyamira, recorded similar trend last year. So it means then that there is something happening there. Could it be due to some traditional activities that they do there? We will do a tracer study to find out. The highest number of candidates came from the traditional years, over about 45% between 13 and 14 years. And when we jump to the overage, which is 19 years, they came from Turkana, Garissa, Kilifi, Kwale, and Mandera. Again, these counties, except for Mandera, recorded the same for last year. Performance per subject. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that 6 papers recorded an improved performance in the year 2021 as compared to 2020. These are English composition, Kiswahili Lugha, Kiswahili Insha, Kenyan Sign Language composition, Science and Social Studies. 3 other papers Mathematics, English language, and religious education recorded a drop in performance when compared to 2021. Kenya Sign Language recorded a comparable performance between the 2 years. In terms of gender, the performance of male and female candidates was comparable. However, the females always defeat the boys in English and Kiswahili, and they have maintained that. Male candidates were better in STEM subjects, Kenya Sign Language, Mathematics and Science, and religious education. Overall performance of the candidates. In 2021 examination, overall performance improved compared to 2020, although the highest mark dropped from 433 to 428. The mean average performance and quality of grades for all candidates is higher. For example, whereas 8,091 candidates, which is 0.68%, scored between 400 and 500 marks in 2020, the number increased to 11,857, which is 0.97% in 2021. This is an indicator that most candidates scored better scores than the previous year. I wish to commend all teachers and parents and candidates for this good performance during the challenging period. The summary of the grades is as follows. It's on a table, which I will not read fully, but I will just mention. 4 to 500, 11,857, 300 to 399, 315,275, 200 to 299, 578,197. Gentlemen and ladies of the media will see it from the list. I'm impressed that the mark range between the top 10 candidates is only 3 points. Actually, there are up to 14 candidates in order to make the top 10, but the mark range is only 3 points, and that tells you something. And I will read a few. The top candidate for this year's examination is Magata Bruce Mackenzie from Gilgil Hills Academy. He is at position 1 with 428 points. The second candidate is Momanyi Ashley Kerubo from Makini School, Kibos, with 427 points. Number 3 is carried by 6 of them, so I'll just read maybe 1 because of time, or 2. Kuoma Charity Bahoya Buyanzi, Holy Family Misihu Girls Primary School. The next is Mbogwa Sharon Wairimu Muteti, Emmanuel Academy. Number 5, which is also with 3 points, it's Muteti Chantel Ndinda, Kitengela International School. Another one is 426 is Stanley Otieno Mondi, Rofinfield Junior Secondary School. Number 7, also with which is basically number 3, Wekesa Naomi, White Star Academy. Number 8, Kimani Ethan Karuga, Stepping Stones Preparatory, also with 426. Then the rest 4 are with 425, and the first one is Njeru Joel Junior Musioka. Njeru Joel Junior Musioka, Nyagwa Primary School. Then Kirinya Murioki Victor, PCEA Mwimbi Boarding Primary School. Second last one, Diana Rose Natolo, First Beth Academy. And finally, Kaberia Emmanuel Munene, New Bambini. There are two others. Let me just finish them. Emmanuel Kiplangat Ngetich, Moi Primary School, Kabarak. and George Morris Otieno Hill School, and that makes the list of 14, but basically number 1, 2, and 3. Now those with disabilities are better spread out. For candidates with special needs, the top candidates there are 2 in between 400 to 500, but they have improved between 300 and 399, and they have up to 337 of them compared to last year when they had 318. And I think I will just call a few of them. Like I don't have the list of SNE candidates, but then I'll go to the candidates who are top candidates in SNE. I have the list here. Bethany Tatila Migosi from Thorngrove Academy with 417 points. Grace Nema Katana from Havila Academy Mutwapa Primary School. Kamau Jackson Degwa from Mudhiria. Musioka Kings Kevin. All those have 401. The 2 of them have 401. Kadhozweni AIC. And number 5 is Migosi Dominic Sese from Maunarok, 401. Number 6 is Minor Leighton Jagi, Olkalao Disabled, 399. Otieno Bara Konyango from St. Cecilia Olare in Homa Bay. Number 6. Mwachofi Leonora Mkawaindi, De Paul Catholic School, Kamulu. Number 9. Philip Karani, Likoni School for the Blind. And number 10. Dorcas Cherono, St. Sophia, Kcpe Primary School, 396. The number of candidates who sat examination under special circumstances, including those who sat the examination in hospitals, decreased from 1,240 to 1,067. The most improved public schools whose candidates are greater than 50, I will read just a few. A region, the first region is the Coast Region, Kambi Awaya from 203 to 266. Central Region, Njenga Karume from 207 to 248. Eastern, Ngukuine from 165 to 250. Nairobi, Cheleta from 213 to 263. Rift Valley, Lenkishoni from 198 to 272. Western, Kewa DEB from 216 to 284. Nyanza, Nyangiti from 170 to 232. And Northeastern, Mandera DEB from 181 to 270. We encourage them and hope that they continue to improve. Ladies and gentlemen, accessing the Kcpe examination results, it is our tradition that the Kcpe examination results will be collected by respective schools from the sub-county education offices. Candidates should therefore collect their results from their respective examination centers. And let me warn the head teachers, both public and private, this is a Kenya government examination. You shall give the candidate his or her results. Talk about school fees on the side. Are we together here? You are keeping it, is it your school? And is it your country? So can we give every candidate his results so that I don't have people coming up to my office that we give results from here? That is thoroughly inhuman. And I hope that is taken in the manner that it is required. Individual candidates' results can be assessed by sending a candidate's index number followed by initials, Kcpe, the short-term SMS to 20076. This service will be available immediately after this event. Head teachers will be required to download and print the online result slips for candidates in their schools and authenticate the same before they release them to the parents and guardians. And it is the wish of His Excellency the President, and also mine, that every child gets his results. Deal with the parents later. Because as far as the public is concerned, primary school is free. Are we together? And even in the private sector, if you decided to take part of the work of government, thank you for taking the work, but now you must give the result to the child. It is now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to declare the examination results for 2021 officially open. And just to hasten to say that we are still in the field, and as soon as this is done, I want all the officers who are here to forget about the ceremony and get back to work.
Yes. May I now, CS, request that you hand over, that you receive the CEO, please, the chair, the PS.
You at the center.
Sorry.
This side?
Yes. Yes. Now you can now see the size 11 and above in practice. Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. I now invite Madam Imelda Baraza to offer to move the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, our Master of Ceremony, our CS, our invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to give this vote of thanks on this occasion of releasing the 2021 Kcpe results. Allow me to thank the Almighty God for this chance, given that last year, when we were releasing the results, we released amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. I, and on behalf of the Kenya National Examinations Council and the entire fraternity of education stakeholders gathered here today, we extend our gratitude to all the speakers for gracing this occasion. Sir, allow me to thank you specifically for the work that you have done. You have enumerated for us the milestones that you have achieved, and I request all of us here to put our hands together and just give a clap to our CS. Sir, we have witnessed you work tirelessly, and we just want to cheer you on and say thank you very much for the work that you have done. On the same length, allow me to appreciate the CEO Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia, for the immense support you have enabled us to work closely with the TSC. The teachers have enabled the process of examination administration right from setting, administration to marking. They have been our engine and cornerstone for the examination administration processes, and we thank them for the sacrifice, hard work, resilience, without which we will not be able to release the results today. We also take this opportunity to convey our sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government for all their support during the administration of the exams. We thank all the officers for the sacrifice and diligence, without which this process would not have run smoothly. So allow me to appreciate the guests that we invited today, starting off with our Principal Secretary, State Department of Basic Education and Early Learning, Dr. Julius Juan. Allow me also to thank the Principal Secretary, State Department for Implementation of Curriculum Reforms, who has honored us today, Professor Fatuma Chege. Allow me to thank the Director, KICD, Professor Charles Ongondo, and all the directors from the Teacher Service Commission and from the Ministry of Education. I appreciate the representatives of the education-related associations and unions, center organizers and managers for being present today. I would like to thank the chairman of the council, Dr. John Onsanti, and our CEO, Dr. David Genere, and the council members for the support and guidance that you have accorded us. Not forgetting the media fraternity for successfully covering this function and enabling all viewers countrywide and worldwide to actively watch the release of these results today. To the NEC family, we thank you for all your hard work. Sir, allow me at this moment just to mention Yusuf. Not that we had forgotten Yusuf. Sir, personally, I would want to appreciate Yusuf for the work that he has done. We shall be discussing more as we continue working. We thank all the NEC staff for all the tireless hours, all the sacrifice, and that has enabled us to successfully release the results today. When the CS gave us a challenge, we said we'll jump 10 times higher, and sir, the staff made it. Allow me, sir, to also thank the committee that was behind the organization of this activity. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been told time is of essence, and at this time, allow me to congratulate all the candidates and wish them well as they transit to the next stage. God bless NEC, God bless Kenya, God bless you all. As we conclude, we'll have announcements from our Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the results printout, Kcpe 2021 results printouts will be available in schools on 30th March 2022. If there are issues that the candidates or the teachers wish to raise, these issues should be raised within 30 days of the release of the results. And as we raise the issues, please remember to attach the relevant documents, the birth certificate, a copy of the results printout, and a letter from the head teacher or the sub-county director of education of the affected candidates. So please remember 30th March for the results printouts. Remember the 30 days after the official release of the results. I now, at this point, request Ahmed Mutanga to offer the closing prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. All thanks and praise are due to Allah, Lord of all creation, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, most merciful, most beneficent, Maliki Yawmiddin, Lord of the day of recompense, Iyaka na'abud wa iyaka nasta'in. Only you do we worship, and only you do we ask for sustenance. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Guide us unto the straight path. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. The path of those whom you have favored. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim. Not the path of those who have angered you. Wala dhalin, or those who have gone astray. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين آمين آمين
Amen. Asanteni sana na mbarikiwe. I've been asked to, in the usual NEC spirit, that Madam Imelda will guide us. Remember, size 11 to 14. She will deal with the front row and the council members. And we are requesting that you don't leave without taking lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, asanteni sana na mbarikiwe.
Na bila shaka Waziri wa Elimu Profesa George Magoha ametoa matokeo ya KCPE mwaka wa 2021. Mwanafunzi wa kwanza hapo akitajwa kama Magata Bruce Mackenzie akiwa na alama 428, akifuatwa kwa karibu na Momanyi Ashley Kerubo mwenye alama 427, kisha kuoma Parity alama 426, Mbugu wa Sharon Wairimo 426, Muteti Chantel Ndinda 426. Na katika hawa ambao walikuwa 10 bora walikuwa 14 haswa, kwa hivyo ni 14 bora: Stanley Otieno Omondi, Wekesa Naomi, Kimani Ethan Karuga, Njeru Joel Musyoka, Kirinya Muriuki Victor wakiwa na alama 425, Diana Rose Natolo na Kaderia Emmanuel akiwa na alama 425. Na Waziri Magoha hapo akiwa anatoa matokeo hayo ya KCPE kwa mara yake ya mwisho kabla ya uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka huu Agosti tarehe 9, ambapo wakati baada yake kuondoka, bila shaka kutakuwa na waziri mwingine baada ya uchaguzi katika mtihani ambao utafanyika mnamo mwezi Oktoba na Disemba kama alivyoeleza hapo, mitihani ambayo itafanywa pamoja na mitihani ya gredi ya 6. Na bila shaka Magoha ameeleza mengi tu kuhusiana na jinsi ambavyo anatarajia kwamba mrithi wake ataweza kuendeleza uwazi kwenye mitihani. Mbali na hayo, ameeleza kwamba idadi ya wanafunzi ambao walipata alama zaidi ya 400 imeongezeka ikilinganishwa na KCPE ya mwaka wa 2020. Mwaka huu wanafunzi 11,857 wameweza kupata alama zaidi ya 400 ikilinganishwa na mwaka wa 2020 ambapo ni wanafunzi 8,091 ambao waliweza kupata alama zaidi ya 400. Pia ameweza kueleza kwamba kumekuwa na alama kuimarika ama matokeo kuimarika katika masomo ya sayansi pamoja na social studies, lakini pia matokeo yamepungua katika somo la hisabati. Hebu sasa tuungane naye Chemtai Goini ambaye amekuwa akifuatilia hotuba hiyo ya Waziri Magoha katika makao makuu ya Baraza la Mitihani nchini NEC. Chemtai.
Na kama tulivyowaambia hapo awali ni kuwa tulikuwa tunatarajia matokeo ya mtihani wa kitaifa wa KCPE kutangazwa rasmi na Profesa George Magoha ambaye ni waziri wa elimu, na hapo tumeweza kupata kuona kuwa Magaka Brian ndiye ambaye ameibuka kuwa wa kwanza na alama 428, na kuna baadhi ya wengine ambao wamemfuata, na labda kidogo kwa juu sababu Mashirima umeweza kuangazia baadhi ya matokeo ambayo yametangazwa. Labda pia tugusie swala ambalo tulikuwa tumezungumzia hapo awali kuhusu yale ambayo Waziri Magoha alitarajiwa kuzungumzia. Tumesikia kuwa baada ya matokeo ya uchaguzi baada ya matokeo ya mtihani kutangazwa rasmi na waziri wa elimu, basi shule zitaweza kuwa na ile chapisho ya matokeo hayo kufikia tarehe 30 mwezi huu, na kisha baadaye wanafunzi wote ama wazazi ambao watakuwa na tashwishi kuhusu yale ambayo yatakuwa mle ndani, basi watatarajiwa kuwasilisha malalamishi yao kwenye kituo hichi cha mtihani cha NEC. Watakuwa na siku 30 kuwasilisha malalamishi yao, na malalamishi yao itategemea ni malalamishi yapi ambayo watakuwa nayo, lakini watahitajika kuwasilisha hapa pia cheti cha kuzaliwa cha mwanafunzi na baadhi ya stakabadhi ambazo wataweza kuelezwa na walimu wakuu wa shule hizo. Na pia tumesikia tangazo kutoka Waziri Magoha kwa walimu wakuu wa mashule tofauti kuwa wanafunzi wote wapatiwe matokeo yao, na kuwa yeyote ambaye pia bado hajaweza kukamilisha labda ile ada ama school fees, basi asikatazwe kupata matokeo yake, kwani matokeo ya uchaguzi matokeo ya mtihani huu kwa kila mwanafunzi ni haki yake, kwani wanafunzi ambao wameenda katika ile tunasema primary school basi wanapata results zote. Education tunasema ni free, kwa kimombo ni wie radhi. Lakini labda pia tuangazie masuala ambayo Magoha ameweza kuzungumzia kuhusu yatakayojiri mwaka huu. Tunatarajia kuwa kutakuwa na mtihani mwingine wa kitaifa wa Kcpe ambao utafanyika mwezi Oktoba au labda Novemba, na pia kutakuwa na mtihani mwingine wa Kcse, na kuwa wizara hii ya elimu imeweza kuweka mikakati kabambe ya kuhakikisha kuwa kila kitu kishwari, na kuwa wanafunzi ambao watahitimu kutoka hapa sasa watahitaji kwenda kidato cha kwanza, na hasa wale kwenye ile mtaala mpya wa CBC pia kuwa wameweka mikakati ya kuhakikisha kuwa wana madarasa ya kutosha ya kuhakikisha kila mwanafunzi anapata nafasi. Tuliona kuwa afisa mkuu mtendaji wa tume ya walimu TSC na Daktari Nancy Macharia pia alizungumzia swala la ukosefu wa walimu wa kutosha, na kuwa wataanza shughuli ambapo baadhi ya maafisa wao watatarajiwa kutembea katika kaunti ndogo zote kuangalia jinsi ile tunasema ratio ya walimu na wanafunzi, ili kuhakikisha kuwa wakati watahitimu kwenda darasa nyingine ama darasa ya juu watakuwa na walimu wa kutosha wa kufunza wanafunzi hao, ili wote waweze kupata ile tunasema access to education. Kuna masuala kadhaa ambayo yameweza kuzungumziwa na labda tutawaarifu zaidi katika taarifa zetu za hapo mbele, lakini bado kutangaza kuwa matokeo ya mtihani wa Kcpe ni wie radhi. Labda kidogo nimezoea kuwa katika ulingo wa kisiasa, na wakati huu niko katika sekta ya education, na labda kidogo ulimi unateleza. Tumezoea kutangaza uchaguzi, lakini tutaweza kuwapa mengi zaidi kuhusu matokeo ya mtihani huu wa Kcpe katika taarifa ifuatayo. Labda Mashirima, utaendelea kupasha watazamaji wetu kuhusu yanayojiri kote nchini.
Naam, shukran sana Chimtai, bila shaka na kuelewa, manake wakati kama huu tunashinda tukisema kwamba kuna matokeo ambayo tunatarajia Agosti tarehe 9, lakini kwa leo tunaendelea kufuatilia taarifa kuhusiana na matokeo ya Kcpe mwaka wa 2021 ambapo mwanafunzi wa kwanza ametangazwa hapo na Profesa George Magoha, bwana Mackenzie Bruce Kundravi kutoka shule ya Gilgil Academy akiwa na alama 428, na tayari kuna sherehe zinazoendelea katika kaunti mbalimbali. Hivi sasa tunataka kuona jinsi hali ilivyo katika kaunti ya Kisumu. Laura.
Naam, shukran sana Mashirima. Kama ulivyosema, kwa sasa
za hali ilivyo katika shule ulioko, na pia ni shule gani? Je, wameweza kutuma arafa kwa ile nambari 20076 ili kupata matokeo ya wanafunzi? Naam, inaonekana tuna tatizo hapo la mawasiliano na Laura Otieno, lakini tunazidi tu kufuatilia matokeo ya mwaka wa 2021 ya Kcpe. Waziri Magoha akitangaza matokeo hayo, ikiwa ni mara yake ya mwisho ya kutoa matangazo ya mtihani wa Kcpe kabla yake kuondoka kwa wizara hiyo baada ya uchaguzi wa Agosti tarehe 9. Ameweza tu kusema mengi kuhusiana na matokeo ya mwaka huu, mojawapo ikiwa ni kwamba alama ya juu zaidi imeshuka kutoka 433 mwaka wa 2020 hadi sasa, ambapo mwanafunzi wa kwanza ana alama 428, na tunazidi tu kuangazia wale wanafunzi ambao wameweza kupata matokeo yao kupitia nambari 20076. Na kama wewe ni mtahiniwa ambao ulifanya mtihani huu tangu tarehe 7 mwezi Machi hadi tarehe 9 mwaka huu, unaweza kutuma nambari yako ya usajili kwa arafa hiyo 20076, kisha utapata matokeo yako, na unaweza pia kututumia arafa kupitia nambari 22422 tueleze matokeo yako yamekuwa imekuwa vipi, kama umefurahishwa na matokeo hayo, ama hisia zako ni zipi hivi sasa. Bila shaka wanahabari wetu pia wanaendelea kuwatafuta wanafunzi hao watahiniwa ambao wameweza kupata alama za juu, wa pili akiwa Momanyi Ashley Kerubo kutoka shule ya msingi ya Makini akiwa na alama 427. Naarifiwa kwamba sasa mawasiliano yamekuwa bora zaidi, tukiwa na Laura Otieno hapo kutoka Kisumu. Laura, kama unanisikia hivi sasa, je, hali iko vipi katika shule ambayo uko?
Na Mashirima, kama ulivyosema ni kwamba kaunti ya Kisumu leo imenakili matokeo mazuri, manake mwanafunzi wa pili bora zaidi ametoka katika kaunti hii. Lakini kwa sasa tupo katika shule nyingine ambayo inaitwa shule ya Hekima, ambapo pia sawia pia wamesajili matokeo mazuri, na kama alivyosema waziri wa elimu George Magoha kwamba wamesajili wanafunzi zaidi ambao walipata alama ya 400. Na basi moja kwa moja nizungumze na mkuu wa shule hii. Anza kwa jina na utuambie, kwa sasa inasemekana kwamba kulikuwa na muda kidogo kwa wanafunzi kujitayarisha. Ni vipi ambavyo mlijipanga kama shule na matokeo yenu ya juu zaidi? Nani ambaye amepata alama ya juu zaidi?
I'll speak in English, and what I can say, we have done very well despite all the hitches which were there. The highest we have managed to get 417 marks, and I think it's a good improvement. And we have several 400 and above. So the performance is very, very good. It's very, very good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, hapa pia nakuta, asante sana. Ninaona kuna mwalimu mmoja. Yes. Anza kwa jina na utuambie mlijitayarisha vipi kwa matokeo mazuri?
Okay, first of all, I'm Peter Okelo, the teacher of the school. First of all, we are very grateful because we've performed exemplary well. And the result that we have today is as a result of the hard work that we had. We prepared our candidates very well, and we had the support from the parents, from the director, and all the stakeholders. And we are happy for the result. Yes, yes.
Asante sana. Na shukrani sana. Kama ulivyosikia, ni jambo ambalo tutaendelea kufuatilia kwa kina na kueletea moja kwa moja.
Na sherehe hizo zikiendelea katika kaunti ya Kisumu hivi sasa, naarifiwa kwamba tumempata babake Bruce Mackenzie Magata ambaye ni mwanafunzi bora mwaka huu wa 2021 kwenye Kcpe, Bwana Jared Magata. Hujambo Bwana Jared, je, hisia zako ni zipi hivi sasa? Umepokea taarifa hizi ukiwa wapi?
Sijambo, niko Kisii, nimefurahi sana. Mungu ametufanyia maajabu.
Naam, na ulikuwa unatarajia matokeo haya ya mtoto wako?
Nilitarajia atapata marks, lakini sikutarajia atakuwa the best.
Aha, na Bruce mwenyewe yuko wapi?
Bruce yako Ngata Rongai.
Aha, ameshaweza kujua kwamba yeye ndiye mwanafunzi bora katika Kcpe mwaka huu 2021?
Bila shaka, kwa sababu nafikiria lazima alikuwa anatazama kuona matokeo, ingawa simu yao iko busy. I'm not able to reach that.
Umesema simu iko busy sana. Wewe mwenyewe umeweza kuzungumza naye?
Nimejaribu kupiga simu na iko engaged.
Labda ni vile amefurahi, anaongea na marafiki zake na jamaa wengine ambao bila shaka wanampigia kumhongera kwa matokeo hayo bora.
Ni kweli.
Naam, hivi sasa labda umekuwa na mipango gani ya mtoto wako wakati ambapo ukiwa unatarajia kwamba atakuwa na alama za juu, lakini unasema haukutarajia kwamba yeye ndio atakuwa mwanafunzi bora?
Okay, nilikuwa natarajia kwamba nilikuwa na mpango kwamba aingie Alliance High School. Hivyo kwamba kila wakati tukutana nilikuwa tunaelezana afanye bidii apate the dream school.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay, na labda kwa sababu bado hatujampata, alikuwa anasema anataka kuingia katika taaluma gani?
Aeronautical engineering has been in the dream.
Naam, tunakusikia.
Yeah, amekuwa akiongea about aeronautical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly is not so much into medicine.
Hey.
Yeah.
Naam. Asante sana Bwana Jared Magata hapo, ambaye ni babake Bruce Magata, mwanafunzi bora mwaka huu wa 2021 kwenye Kcpe. Bruce ameweza kupata alama 428 mbele ya mwanadada huyo ambaye ni Ashley. Unajua nina makaratasi mengi hapa, sasa najaribu kutafuta mahali ambapo nilikuwa nimeandika alama hizo. Na wa pili ambaye alikuwa na alama 427 Momanyi Ashley Kerubo, huku akifuatwa na wanafunzi kadhaa ambao walipata alama sawa ya 426. Bila shaka ni matokeo hayo ambayo yameweza kutangazwa na Profesa George Magoha, akiwa anaeleza tu jinsi ambavyo kumekuwa na tofauti katika yale matokeo ambayo waliweza kupata ya mtihani wa Kcpe mwaka wa 2021. Naam, bila shaka hapo pia tuliweza kusikia kutoka kwa afisa mkuu mtendaji wa TSC Bi Nancy Macharia, ambaye aliweza kuwahongera walimu ambao walihakikisha kwamba mtihani huu ulifanyika chini ya usimamizi bora kabisa, akieleza kwamba wanaendelea tu kupiga msasa hali ilivyo kuhusiana na idadi ya walimu katika shule za msingi na shule za upili, akisema kuwa kuna uhaba wa walimu 114,000 katika shule za msingi na za upili, lakini akieleza zaidi kwamba walimu wanaendelea kupata mafunzo ya CBC hususan wakati ambapo tunatarajia kuna wale wanafunzi wa gredi ya 6 ambao pia watakuwa wanafanya mtihani wao mwisho wa mwaka huu. Walimu 229,292 ambao wanaendelea kupokea mafunzo ili kuweza kuendeleza mtaala wa CBC. Naona hapo kuna sherehe zinazoendelea. Naam, ni katika kaunti ya Kisumu, mahali ambapo Laura Otieno alipokuwa. Hebu tusikize. Ambazo tutazidi kuzishuhudia katika shule mbalimbali ambapo wanafunzi wameweza kupata matokeo mema ya Kcpe mwaka wa 2021, na bila kusahau kwamba tuko nao hapa studioni wageni wetu ambao watakuwa tu wanatoa kauli zao kuhusiana na zile hotuba ambazo wamezisikia kutoka kwa afisa mkuu mtendaji wa TSC Nancy Macharia, Profesa George Magoha ambaye ni waziri wa elimu, John Nsati mwenyekiti wa baraza la mitihani, Daktari David Genere ambaye ni afisa mkuu mtendaji wa baraza la mitihani nchini. Labda nianze na wewe Martha. Ukiangalia jinsi ambavyo matokeo haya yalivyo, hususan kwa wale ambao wametajwa, alama ile ya juu zaidi imepungua tena mwaka huu. Hisia zako ni zipi?
Kwanza ningependa kumpongeza Bruce Mackenzie na wenzake ambao walihitimu alama za juu, na pia nataka kuwapongeza wanafunzi wote ambao walifanya huo mtihani wakati mwezi wa 3, lakini pia sina wasiwasi sana, hiyo tofauti si kubwa sana. Ni kawaida matokeo yawe tofauti kwa sababu kama vile tulisema mara ya kwanza, kuna mambo mengi ambayo yale utendeka ndio mitihani either ipitwe ama iwe ijapitwa. Kwa hivyo there are number of kuna mambo mengi ambayo utendeka. Kuna kusomesha, kuna kusoma, kuna kama janga la COVID, kuna mwenzangu hapa alisema hata curriculum yenyewe na kuingiza mambo mapya inaweza kuwa kiasi litatiza, lakini ukiangalia tofauti ya alama ya mwaka uliopita na mwaka huu si kubwa sana. Hiyo ni kawaida kuwa na hiyo curve ikibadilika hivyo.
Naam, Evelyn, kwako wewe?
Pia ningependa kuwapongeza wanafunzi wote ambao walifanya mtihani huu na kuwapongeza zaidi walimu pamoja na wazazi wa hao wanafunzi. Jambo ambalo ningependa kusema ni kwamba unapotazama matokeo haya, jambo la kwanza ambalo nafikiria ni kwamba wanafunzi wengi katika hao 10 bora ama 14 bora wanatoka katika shule za kibinafsi. Na jambo hilo linanitatiza kidogo kwa sababu linaficha ukosefu wa usawa kati ya shule za serikali ama shule za umma na zile za kibinafsi. Na ndio maana nafikiri tunapoangalia ubora wa elimu lazima tuangalie wanafunzi wengi wako wapi. Hawako kwenye mashule za kibinafsi, wengi wako kwa shule za umma. Kwa hivyo kukiwa na mchakato wowote wa kuboresha elimu, lazima tuangalie mashule za umma ni nini inahitajika hasa kwa mambo ya kusomesha, mambo ya ualimu. Ninaposikia kwamba tuna ukosefu wa walimu karibu 1120, mimi nina wasiwasi kwa sababu jambo hilo ni jambo kubwa sana ambalo hatufai kuwa tunazungumzia tu na kupita hivi. Haya ndio mambo ambayo yanaleta matokeo ambayo tunaona, ambayo tunasema mtihani lazima tungekuwa na matokeo na kutakuwa na wale ambao watapita, but pia kutakuwa na wale ambao hawatapita, na haya ndio mambo ambayo lazima tuangalie, mambo ya walimu, mambo ya hali ya shule ilivyo na kadhalika.
Naam. Martha, wewe pia una wasiwasi ukiona kwamba idadi kubwa ya wanafunzi ambao wamepata alama bora mwaka huu 2021 ni wa kutoka kwa shule za kibinafsi na sio shule za umma?
Ndio, kuna wasiwasi kwa sababu inamaanisha ya kwamba shule zetu za umma kuna vifaa ama baadhi ya vitu ambazo haviko, ambazo hizi shule zingine ambazo ni za kibinafsi ziko nazo. So ni jukumu la serikali kuongeza like Kiswahili saa zingine ni shida kiasi. Mimi ni mwathiri wa lugha ya ung'eng'e. Lugha ya ung'eng'e. So wapata kwamba
unaweza changanya mali ambapo utatatizika nitakusaidia.
Yeah. So ukiangalia facilities zile ziko kwa shule za kibinafsi, even the environment itself, walimu vile wamejitolea, hata saa zingine mimi huenda niko mhathiri wa shule ya kufunza walimu, tunaenda teaching practice, tunaangalia hata vile matayarisho ya hata learning areas. Ukienda kwa shule za kibinafsi hizo vitu ziko tayari kabisa, lakini tukienda kwa shule zetu ambazo ni za serikali unapata kuna ulegevu kiasi. Kwa hivyo ni jukumu la walimu pia kutia bidii, wazazi pia kujitolea. Shule ni zao, whether ni kibinafsi ama ni za serikali.
Bila shaka. Na mbali na hilo swala la labda madarasa na mambo mengine, kuna pia idadi ya wanafunzi ambayo inazidi kuongezeka kila mwaka, wale ambao wanajiunga na shule za msingi na pia wale ambao wanafanya mtihani. Je, hilo ni swala ambalo Wizara ya Elimu inapaswa kuzingatia kivipi?
Tunapoangalia hali ya idadi ya watu, tunajua ya kwamba idadi ya watu inaongezeka nchini. Na tunajua ya kwamba idadi kubwa zaidi ni vijana. Na tunapozungumzia vijana, tunazungumzia pia watoto ambao wamo pale shuleni, wawe katika shule ya msingi ama wawe kwenye shule ya sekondari. Na Profesa Magoha amezungumzia mambo ya kupanua madarasa, kujenga madarasa mapya katika mashule. Lakini hata hivyo, na ni jambo la busara, yafaa tuwe tunaongeza madarasa na tunaongeza walimu na pia tunaongeza nyenzo zingine za elimu ambazo zinahitajika, vitabu, madawati na kadhalika. Lakini unaona kwamba kwa muda mrefu sana nchi yetu haijakuwa ikiboresha mazingira kwenye mashule. Na sasa hata madarasa haya amesema tumeshajenga 6,000, bado tuko chini ya kiwango ambacho kinahitajika. Kwa hivyo bado tuko below the expected number. Maana yake tuna mashule karibu takriban 1032 nafikiri za msingi na karibu mashule karibu 1013 za sekondari. Na sasa ikiwa tuna 100% transition, maana yake wanafunzi wote ambao wanatoka katika hizi shule za msingi ambao wamefanya mtihani leo 1.2 ambao wanaenda sekondari, wote lazima waingie katika haya mashule ya sekondari ambayo ni karibu 1014 hapo hivi. Waona bado tuna shida pale.
Naam, bila shaka. Hivi sasa naarifiwa kwamba tuko naye Stanley Omondi ambaye ni mmoja wa wanafunzi ambao wamepata alama 426. Stanley, hujambo? Stanley, kama unanipata, hujambo? Hisia zako ni zipi hivi sasa? Umepokea habari hizi kuhusiana na matokeo yako ukiwa wapi?
Nilikuwa Mombasa.
Napenda tu vile umesema ulikuwa Mombasa. Je, ulikuwa unatarajia kwamba utapata alama hizi?
Sikuwa nimetarajia hayo alama, lakini nilikuwa naomba Mungu kuwa nipate alama zinazonifurahisha.
Na umefurahia sasa hivi? Maana unasema ulikuwa unaomba Mungu kwamba upate alama zinazofurahisha.
Nimefurahia na pia nilikuwa nataka kuwa yule wa kwanza, lakini kwa kuwa nimekuwa wa sita nchini nzima, bado nashukuru.
Naam, hebu tuambie ulikuwa unafanya nini ili kuhakikisha kwamba